You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor, subscribe to the channel, leave your comments below, and be sure to smash that like button.
CBS Sports yesterday put out college football's top dynamic duos. Now, this did not have to be quarterback, receiver, tight end. It was guys on the same team that play similar positions. Offense and defense didn't matter. Like number one on their list, Nick Singleton, Kaytron Allen, the running back duo at Penn State. Makes a lot of sense. Carried them to a college football playoff appearance. Everyone's going to talk about Drew Aller. I think Drew Aller has a lot left to prove, but Nick Singleton, Kaytron Allen, obviously number one on that list. Colin Simmons and Anthony Hill, the edge rushers from Texas, sit number two on this list. Like Jeremiah Smith and the Ohio State wide receivers are on here. Clemson has two defensive linemen, TJ Parker and Peter Woods. We talked about how good that pass rush could likely be against the LSU Tigers in week one. Sam Levitt, Jordan Tyson, like you get a lot of big-time, well-known names. Cam Coleman and Eric Singleton Jr. from Auburn, the two wide receivers. No one from LSU is on this list, and I totally get that. But I wanted to look at, okay, well, if we were making this list for LSU, who would be on it? Who's the candidate to be LSU's next dynamic duo, if you will? I think there's a number. Like my first thought went wide receiver. You have Aaron Anderson, Nick Anderson, Chris Hilton Jr., Barry and Brown's coming in from Kentucky. Like there's a lot of options. Aaron Anderson would be one of those two for me. He's your leading returning receiver from a year ago. 884 yards, 5 touchdowns. He had that down first year when he kind of underperformed after transferring back here from Alabama. Last year he exploded. He was your slot receiver. Garrett Nussmeier looked for Aaron Anderson and Mason Taylor on 3rd and 4th downs when he had to have it. That's how much he trusted Aaron Anderson. I'm not saying he's wide receiver one on the outside, but he's probably your top target going into next year. Look, Chris Hilton, he had the big impact at the end of the season. All year long, we had talked about if Chris Hilton could get in this offense, if you had Chris Hilton, if you could have a deep threat in this offense, I think it helped Garrett Nussmeier. Look at the last 3 games of the regular season. Garrett Nussmeier, 72% completion percentage, 7 touchdowns, 1 interception. That was Vandy, Oklahoma, and then the bowl game against Baylor. Chris Hilton was a big part of all of those games because it just opens everything up for you offensively with a guy like Chris Hilton being that deep threat. And Nick Anderson comes in, didn't play at all last year. Like, played in 1 game, no catches, had a season-ending injury. That's Nick Anderson. So you're just waiting for him to fully recover from that injury. He was kind of in and out of the lineup there in spring. They're trying to work him back slowly. But the last time we saw Nick Anderson on a Power 4 football field was 2023, and he was really, really good. 798 receiving yards, but double-digit touchdowns for the Oklahoma Sooners. With Dylan Gabriel at quarterback, Nick Anderson thrived. I don't see why he can't thrive in this offense under Garrett Nussmeier, who by all accounts is one of the best quarterbacks in college football. Like he is the leading returning passer in college football. No quarterback coming back this year that started a year ago threw for more yards than Garrett Nussmeier. I think Nick Anderson is going to be a starter on this team. I like Barry and Brown. I like the young guys, whether it's Francis, whether it's Phillip Wright. We'll see if Jelani Watkins can do something. Barry and Brown coming in. But I think you're starting 3. Like first game, if I had to predict it right now, Aaron Anderson, Chris Hilton, Nick Anderson. That's where I'm going because I think Nick Anderson gives you something that nobody else does. And he's 6'5", 220 pounds. Hilton's got speed. Anderson can do a little bit of everything. But you have a lot of guys that have speed. Like Anderson can be a deep threat for you. Xavion Thomas is returning. He's got speed. Barry and Brown's coming in. There are some circles that say he's the fastest player in college football. Like, you have a lot of deep threat options. You don't have anybody 6'5", 220 pounds, but you got Nick Anderson. He provides you something that nobody else on this team does. I think Nick Anderson slides right in there in that starting offense. I also considered running back when looking at the dynamic duos. Caden Durham burst onto the scene. You remember in the South Carolina game, like you just could not get into a rhythm offensively. You put Caden Durham in there, boom, that was it. He took the starting job. He never looked back. He was a big reason why you won that game. So my thought was, okay, we have Caden Durham. Now, Josh Williams is moving on, but Caleb Jackson is returning. Can he be the player that everyone wants him to be? Can he live up to the potential that was surrounding him when he got on campus 2 years ago? Harlem Berry's coming in, the number one running back in the country. You have JT Lindsey, who a lot of people forget about, was one of the top running backs in the country in his own right. Could one of those guys step up next to a Caden Durham? I considered pass rusher. Gabriel Ralliford, Jack Pyburn, Patrick Payton, Jamari Butler. Like, that's a really good group of four. Can a couple of those guys step up and have a big season? Ultimately, though, I think it's Whit Weeks and Harold Perkins. I think if you're going into the year saying, these are your two playmakers, you need these guys to have big years, it's Weeks and Perkins. Whit Weeks became one of the best defensive players in college football a season ago. I mean, you remember the fumble recovery against Arkansas that was so big. He had 15 tackles against Oklahoma to end the regular season, including a sack and a forced fumble there. A Ole Miss game, 29-26 in overtime in Tiger Stadium. A gotta-have-it game in the SEC. What did Whit Weeks do? 18 tackles, 1 sack, 1 forced fumble. He was all over the field. 11 tackles in that tightly contested game against South Carolina. Whit Weeks was all over the field. He is your number one linebacker on this team. Now, Devon Keys will probably slide in next to him. Harold Perkins, he'll play a little bit of a hybrid role, but Blake Baker has said he's going to play star. That's where he's going to be full-time. I think that move is huge for the LSU defense. If you remember, Harold Perkins' freshman year on the edge, he would come in as a third down pass rusher, and he was awesome. He wasn't an every down player at that spot as a freshman. 2023, they tried to move him inside, and quite frankly, it didn't work. Like, hand up, I thought Harold Perkins would be fine at middle linebacker. He wasn't. Last year, we saw flashes at the star before the injury. He came up with a big fumble recovery in that South Carolina game. That was a game-changing play. South Carolina turned the ball over in their own territory. LSU was able to capitalize on that. That was in the second half of that game. Like, that's making game-winning plays. Moving him to star, though, it frees him up. It makes him more versatile on defense. He can rush the passer from the star position. He can drop back in coverage. I think his coverage skills are underrated as it is. How good can this LSU defense be? It has to be with Whit Weeks and Harold Perkins. Like, okay, on our morning show off the bench that I'm a part of, Whit Weeks came on about 3 weeks ago, kind of recapping spring, previewing the upcoming season, and he flat out said, look, I think our defense this year, from what I saw in spring practice, is better than it was at any point last year, and that's without me and Harold Perkins. Whit Weeks flat out said that a couple weeks ago on this very station. And I believe in Blake Baker. Like, I believe Whit Weeks when he says that. Missouri's defense was awful when Baker got there. His first year there, he made them a respectable defense. They were top 30 his second year. He's entering his second year at LSU. LSU had a historically bad defense under Matt House in 2023. Last season, it's not where you wanted it to be, but it was a heck of a lot better. Can they be a top 30 defense again? Can Blake Baker repeat what he did in Missouri in 2025 here at LSU? Because I'll tell you right now, if LSU has a top 30 defense next year, this is a college football playoff team. I think so. If Garrett Nussmeier limits his turnovers and the defense takes the big jump in year 2 under Blake Baker, like what happened at Missouri, I don't see a lot of losses on this team's schedule. However good this defense is, though, Harold Perkins, Whit Weeks, they're going to be a big factor in it. I think that's LSU's dynamic duo heading into 2025.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.